Welcome to the Intro to Hypnotherapy seminar, where you will discover that using hypnotherapy will give you a shortcut to faster results in every area of your life. Hi, my name is Jeremiah Rangel. I'm a certified hypnosis trainer, and I've been using hypnotherapy for over 12 years, helping thousands of people connect to the most important things in life. I began studying how to effectively use the mind while training elite professional athletes, but soon became extremely curious about what the mind can do in all important areas of life. Currently, I'm creating a life mastery training center where anyone can learn how to take full advantage of and how to fully develop their mind. I designed this seminar for anyone wanting to learn new and effective ways to live a healthier and happier life. By the end of this course, you will have a clear understanding of what hypnosis is, what it is not, where it came from, and how it can quickly transform any of life's situations that are no longer working for you. I will be teaching the most effective style of hypnotherapy that can be easily learned by anyone, which is Ericksonian hypnotherapy. In fact, Milton Erickson discovered that through working with over 30,000 patients in his career, that not only is everyone on the planet hypnotizable, but we are all in trance for over 2/3 of our lives. In this course, you can take 2 hypnosis tests to see if you are even hypnotizable or not. And right before the course ends, I will be performing a life or death stunt that only a handful of people on the planet have successfully achieved. If you are looking to learn more about how your mind works and to find easier ways to live your life the way you are meant to live, then this course is absolutely for you. Feel free to look at the course description below, and when you're ready, when you feel complete, we look forward to seeing you inside. Who knows just how much you are going to learn? I don't know how easily you will absorb all this information. I only know that your unconscious mind has all the information inside, and it's waiting to come up, come out, and to fully express your truest self now. Thank you, and I'll see you inside. Welcome to the Intro to Hypnotherapy seminar. My name is Jeremiah Rangel. I am a hypnosis trainer, and I'm also have been NLP and master practitioner of hypnosis for over 9 years now. And hypnosis has been something that's completely changed my life. I use it in almost everything that I do, and after the seminar today, you're going to understand a little bit of why it's not just, you don't have to wave a clock in front of somebody, and it doesn't have to be something where, you bark like a chicken or, squeak like an owl. I don't know. You don't have to do all kind of goofy things. You can actually practically apply it to your life. So the first thing about hypnosis, it's a state of consciousness. For those of you guys that learned about NLP before, NLP is a technique where hypnosis is a state of consciousness where you can access all the information that you have stored inside. Think about if you guys could access or imagine all the information that you ever learned in your life. Wouldn't you like to have that at your fingertips at any time? And what about if you had the ability to connect to your higher consciousness all the time in every situation, to have that direct access? And the third thing I want you to consider is if you knew how to really be calm and resourceful in any situation that a life arises, would that be valuable to you? So hypnosis can connect you to all those things and so much more. I'm going to tell you about a couple different things, like some of the benefits that you might have heard about before, where people come to see a hypnotherapist or to be hypnotized for a lot of different reasons. Better sleep is one of the main things, because a quiet mind keeps us up at night, keeps us active. If you don't deal with things at the unconscious level at night, your mind's going to keep you up. It's much like if you have a computer screen and you keep opening up one file, open up another, open up another. Well, after a while, your home screen is going to run really slow, and you need to close those screens. Your mind works the same way. So in hypnosis and in a deep state of trance, you can delete those files that you no longer need, store them where you need to, or process them as you want. A lot of people come to see a therapist or a hypnotherapist for quit smoking. Well, this could be any addiction. It could be exercising too much. It could be sexual addictions, it could be substance abuse addictions, it could be negative programming, negative self-talk addictions. So there's a reason why we do what we do for every behavior. And if you go into the unconscious level, because, by the way, all permanent change happens at the unconscious level. If you go into the unconscious level and your unconscious mind, which is your intuition, which is all of your intelligence, all of your information, if you give it another option besides every time I get stressed, I smoke. So this could be anchored. This equals this. And if that's a problem, if you don't like it, there could be multiple choices. Instead of that, you could go for a walk instead of smoking, instead of the addiction. You could take a deep breath. You could start to exercise. There's things that you can do. And that's why hypnosis and hypnotherapy is very efficient, because it doesn't matter how long you've had a problem in your life. Because there was a time when you did not have that problem. Something happened where you made a decision and this started happening, this behavior, this thing started happening. And you can, if you go to the root cause at the unconscious level of where it's stored, much like a computer, you can choose something different and the results can immediately change. Another thing is to release trauma. People that have post-traumatic stress disorder, or people that had some sort of abuse, or you're a little kid and your dad said something to you that caused you a lot of hurt. It doesn't have to be a traumatic experience to be causing you traumatic results. So that can be released too, really quickly. Past life regression, people that are interested in past life regression, interested in maybe who was I before this time. There are a lot of people who have studied, past life regression, or there's a lot of people, when I used to hear about past life regression, they said, oh, I was a king in this life and I was royalty and this and that, but was anyone ever a peasant before? So there's actually a true thing to get to past life regression, to see actually if there's anything in this lifetime now that's holding you back. And it's not just past life regression. It could be a past life. It could be years ago in your childhood. It could be something generationally. There could be something in your lineage or your ancestors that can be affecting you as well. Anchoring positive states. Kind of like we said about quitting smoking. When I feel stress, then I want to smoke. Well, there's something else could be is when I do public speaking, I want to be feeling really resourceful. I want to feel really connected. Anything in any situation, you can anchor the right state, the positive state that's right for you. So you can pick any area of your life and you can choose to decide how you want to be responding, how you want to be behaving, which is pretty fascinating stuff. If you actually really get to the mainframe of your computer of the root cause of why you do what you do, you can actually program that and you can actually change it very quickly. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Phobias. Phobias are automatic. Phobias are something that causes you a little pain that shuts down a person if a true phobia happens. Phobias can be actually cured pretty quickly. In NLP and in hypnosis, there's a fast phobia cure model. And what I mean by cure, it's completely in that moment, done. Doesn't matter how long you've had it for. It's just unbelievable, amazing stuff. Works 100% of the time if the person is really ready to get rid of it and if you have a good enough practitioner. Because it really is effective with NLP and with hypnosis. Hypnobirthing. I don't know if you have heard of anyone or met anyone that does hypnobirthing, but hypnobirthing can be really effective. I've had a lot of friends that have done it. I've helped people with traumatic pain, with chronic pain in their life, where something is happening. Anytime that we physically feel pain or emotional pain, it's because our unconscious mind is telling us to pay attention. And when we don't pay attention, we pay with pain in our lives. So pain is actually a good thing. In hypnosis and in NLP, we teach that pain is actually a really good thing because it's the check engine light coming on in your car. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to if you were driving your car to a mechanic and the check engine light comes on, the mechanic looks in the car and punches the dashboard and like, I gotta get it to stop, That's not very useful. It's not very resourceful. You want to get to the root cause of what's behind there. So hypnobirthing can get rid of 90 to 100% of pain that normally would happen for people. Weight loss. Weight loss can happen as long as a person really wants to lose that weight. There's a reason why people hold on to weight. It could be an emotional thing. 99% of the time, extra weight is because of protection. Some sort of emotional protection that physically nurtures, protects them energetically, and all these things. If a person's ready to get rid of that protection, they have to put something in its place. Because your unconscious mind is not going to get rid of anything unless it puts something better in its place. That's how the mind works. It's not going to get rid of the known for the unknown, the certainty for the uncertainty, unless You say, instead of this, if I could have this, this, that, or respond this way, of course I would get rid of that. That's how hypnosis can happen very, very quickly. And ultimately, or all the time, it really happens as deep relaxation. Hypnosis is unbelievable for relaxation. You're going to have an experience of that tonight, or multiple experiences. There's people who have drug addictions and they do hypnosis and they actually have better states for that. They get into better states of consciousness that's natural. There's no carryover, and it's unbelievable. So I want to share a little bit of story with you of when I first learned hypnosis when I was 24 years old. I went to my coaching school, and in my coaching school they taught me that if you use trance, if you're in a state of trance, anything is possible. You have access to all the resources. It's actually physically and emotionally impossible to fail or to be in an unresourceful state if you're in trance. So me being somebody who is very curious and I always want to learn, I wanted to put that to the test. So when I was 24, I was going through school and I was working at the Cheesecake Factory. I was working at a restaurant. And I don't know how many people have been in a restaurant industry before, and generally if you're a server waiting on tables, you go up to the table, maybe say the specials, and see how their day is going, check in with them, and then you take their order. Or you might give them a little time. And you have a pen and a pad. That's generally how it is in the Western countries, most restaurants. Well, I wanted to put myself to the test and I wanted to challenge myself. So I remember that one day this 8-top came in. Usually the table's around 2 to 4 people at the Cheesecake Factory, but there's an extra party that came in and I wanted to challenge myself. So I walked up to the table, I did my normal spiel, I connected with them, see what they want, and I didn't write anything down. And they were surprised. They're like, aren't you going to write this down? I'm like, no, I got it. Because I was in trance, I was using my unconscious mind, I was mentally recording this information. So once I got everybody's order, I went up to the POS or the computer screen and a thought came up for me. It's like, oh crap, what if I forget the order? What am I going to do? Some of you also might know that I've been personal training for about 19 years now. And even through school and even through working at a restaurant, I was doing personal training. And one of the main teachers that I had, or one of the inspiring teachers, I should say, is a gentleman by the name of Paul Chek. And he owns this Chek Institute in California. It's for corrective holistic exercise kinesiology. He is known for one of the leaders of core and alignment therapy. Like he really, when like doctors, chiropractors, physical therapists, when most people can't figure out what's going on to people, they send him to Chek practitioners. So I remember studying and reading some of his books and doing some of the seminars, and he introduced me to something that completely changed my life, that as a physical trainer, from someone that helps people, he actually gave me something that I can actually hold on to or kind of identify with, that's given me the ability to help pretty much about 100% of the people that comes across my path. And it's one of the most amazing things. In one of the videos that he had, it's this core video. There's this core video that I watched to learn some new exercises and some of his theories. And there was this video where he was outside in sunny California. It was a really beautiful day. It was beautiful green grass in some sort of field and really sunny skies. And he had an exercise ball like this, much like this. These are called Swiss balls or exercise balls. There's a lot of different names for them, but they're stability balls. And there's so many thousands of exercises you can do, and this is one of his main things, is to use a ball like this. And I saw him walk up to this ball and jump and land on top of it. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, blew me away, impressed me, and I said, I want to do that. I want to learn how to do that. So me being very adventurous and I like a challenge, and I was working at a private training studio at this time, I was a little lazy. I didn't want to go outside. I don't know if it was winter. I'm just going to go ahead and say it was winter in Minnesota. So I didn't want to go outside. There wasn't any good grass. I decided to challenge myself and learn how to do it on cement. Because then failure is not an option, right? And my teachers told me that if you're in peripheral awareness, if you put yourself in a state of trance, failure is impossible. So I really want to test it. So there I was on the cement floor. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. If you've ever seen The Matrix and you saw Neo jumping from the buildings, like, all right, just free your mind, free your mind. So I would condition about hundreds of times. I would say, this is what it would look like walking up to it, jumping and landing. So then the moment of truth, the one day that came when it was one of the actually most transformational days of my life, when it's the day of judgment. It's a day of like taking action. So here I was walking up to the ball, and I was going to take a couple of steps, and then, a big wall of fear came up, and I was like, ooh, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I had to break through that fear. And what I noticed was, as I was walking up to the ball and I was about to jump, I would snap out of that trance state because fear would come up. And my only option was, I don't want to fall. Really was fall. So I had to do a huge breakthrough. And what happened on that day and what I learned completely transformed my being and how I relate to myself, personally and professionally, on every single level. So there are 3 different kinds of hypnosis that I want you guys to know about. There is classical hypnosis, which I'm sure you've heard of. There is stage hypnosis, which most people associate to hypnotherapy. Then there's Ericksonian hypnotherapy, which is what I'm certified, what I train in. It's the best kind, and I'll tell you why. Classical hypnosis is more from, the history is from traditional psychologists would start to use this, and that's where I said at the beginning, you would see the watch and on the string, like, you are getting very sleepy, you are starting to close your eyes, It's very authoritarian, and it's very direct. So I'll translate that. It's really telling you what to do. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being told what to do. I think every single person I've worked with in my life has that little boy, little girl personality inside. It's like, don't tell me what to do. I do what I want, little Cartman inside. And that's why a lot of people say they're not hypnotizable. I can't be hypnotized. I'm not hypnotizable. Because somebody might have tried classical hypnosis on them where it tried to tell you, you're getting sleepy, you're doing this. Someone tells me I'm sleepy, I'm not. I'm just like, fundamentally disagree. I reject that information. So classical hypnosis usually did one test. And one test is, I'm going to see if you're hypnotizable. And they found out that from their test, that 40% of the people were actually hypnotizable and 60% weren't. Well, that's not true because 100% of people are hypnotizable. And you're actually in trance about 2/3 of your life. And I'll explain that in a second. The second one is stage hypnosis. Stage hypnosis, it's just this. It's fun, it's entertaining, there's no therapeutic really help. And how stage hypnosis works is the hypnotherapist goes up on a stage. My experience of stage hypnosis, my first one was when I was in high school graduation. They do a lot of parties, corporate events, and I'm sure everyone's seen it or participated, or if you go to Vegas, they do shows all the time. And what they do is they'll have everyone stand up, and they're going to do basically a test to see how suggestible you are, how hypnotizable you are. And the ones that do the best on the test, that's what they bring up on stage. And you have to know a couple things about hypnosis, because I'm going to get into what hypnotherapy is and what it's not. There are myths about hypnosis, which we're going to explain and kind of debunk. Anybody that's going to come up on stage and like bark like a chicken and dance like a ducky or a monkey or whatever those things are, all different animals, and do kind of funny things, they would do that normally. They would do it normally maybe if they had a few drinks. They would do normally if you asked them to do it. So in trance, you won't do what you wouldn't normally do. You can't actually hypnotize somebody to control them. And we'll break it down and explain it in a second. So I don't do stage hypnosis. Next time I go to Vegas, I might see a show, but I don't do that because I don't know what, barking like a dog or, dancing like a monkey would do for you. I just don't know. That's why I don't do it. Entertaining, but it's not necessarily practically, it doesn't really apply, especially if you want to connect or heal. Ericksonian hypnosis is the hypnotherapy that completely revolutionized hypnotherapy. Milton Erickson was an American psychologist, an American hypnotherapist, but a psychiatrist as well. And basically the story of Milton Erickson is he would be able to help. He worked with over 30,000 different kinds of patients. And he had polio when he was a little kid. And at that time, it was around the 1920s, I believe, early 1900s, they didn't have medication for that. A lot of people would die from polio, and his parents didn't have as much money. They didn't know about the care. So what they would do is both his parents would work. They would sit him up in a chair. And he got to the point in his early teens, he was completely paralyzed. So they would sit him up in a chair, and he was a normal boy growing up, and they would just kind of just slouch there. And he would be able to move his eyes, and that's about it. Like, that's how bad it got. And they actually thought he was going to die. He actually overheard the doctor say he's got months to live or maybe weeks to live. And something ignited in him. He got really upset about that. He's like, that's just ridiculous. He wasn't afraid of death necessarily. He was just upset that they're going to say, I'm alive, I can hear. And he got so good at, it's what's called calibration. And he would know that when his sisters would say something or fight, when they'd say no when they actually meant yes, or when they said yes and they actually meant no, he would know by how the speed or the sound of whether his parents drove home, of what kind of mood they were in, what kind of dinner there was going to be. He'd be able to calibrate these things. And he used to be able to be a boy, and he was looking at this tree in his backyard where he used to climb. He used to be like most boys, and he couldn't move, but he had nothing to do. He was calibrating. He was constantly in touch with his unconscious mind, and he would slowly start to move one finger, and he would get his brain and he would get his muscle to start working together. And then one finger led to two, led to a whole hand, to an arm, to a neck. He completely rehabilitated himself and came fully functional, and went off to learn hypnotherapy, or actually kind of created a really big mainstay of hypnotherapy where he would use conversational hypnotherapy. Unlike classical hypnosis, where it's authoritarian, where I'm going to tell you you're asleep, you're going to really kind of do what I say, this was more suggestible. He would put it on the table, and it's up to you if you want to pick it up or not. And he learned that not only is 100% of the people are hypnotizable, that we're in trance about 2/3 of our lives. How many people drove here today? How many people think that they can't be hypnotized? Because you were in trance when you drove here. If you don't want to be hypnotized, and if you don't want to be in trance, don't drive your car. Don't walk. Don't watch TV. All these things are automatic. This is the difference between your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system, which I'm gonna break down and I'm gonna get into in a second. What I want you to do is, let's talk about what hypnosis is and what it's not. So Amanda's gonna be giving out the first handout. Hypnosis is a doorway into your unconscious mind. So first and foremost, you have a conscious mind, so whatever you're presently aware of right now. Maybe it's the way I look, the sound of my voice, the paper that's in your hand, Amanda that's walking around you. Whatever you're presently or consciously aware of, that's your conscious mind. But your unconscious mind is everything else. Hypnosis is also the best state for integrating learning. It's really hard to learn if you're in the sympathetic nervous system, the flight or fight. Think of if you're going to learn baseball and you're at the plate and you're jumping around and like, when's the ball going to come? When's the ball going to come? Here's the plate, you're all over the place, and there's a bee and you're just like freaking out. You're not going to really learn how to do it. Every single person that's up in, every single baseball player, softball player, t-ball player that's up and they're waiting, they're in trance. They're in the automatic nervous system, and when they swing, hopefully it's the same way, unless they freak out, like the Bad News Bears, or what is that, Home Run, something like that. There's one of those movies where the kid starts, hitting down. He's not in trance at that point. But in trance is the best way to learn. It's the best way to perform. It's the best way to read. It's the best way for you to be as a human being. And it occurs naturally every 20 to 90 minutes, called alternating rhythms. There's these rhythms that happen from when you wake up, when you go down. It kind of looks like a up and down roller coaster. There's these alternating rhythms that naturally occur. So it's impossible for you not to go in trance to like, okay, I'm not going to be in trance for 90 minutes. It's almost impossible for you not to be in trance for 5 minutes. We're going to really break it down and explain what is trance and what is not. It occurs easier when you get closer to nighttime. So the longer we go here, the longer I draw this out and stretch it, the darker it gets, the easier it will be for you to go inside and go into trance. And that's why you're getting sleepy. Well, yeah, that's one way to do it, but you can also just soothe it. You can nurture. You can use your voice like a lullaby, and it's just calm. It makes a person to go inside, maybe focus on your breath, just become aware, do an internal inventory of what's happening. Milton Erickson found out that you pay attention to what's immediately important to you, which is really important. When you go into trance, nobody can force you, nobody can make you do anything. You pay attention to what's immediately important to you. Maybe there's something that your unconscious mind wants you to pay attention to. That's right, that you haven't been paying attention to for some time. And if you were to pay attention, you would no longer need the signal or the teacher that might be causing you some sort of dysfunction, dis-ease in your life. And if you pay attention, to the information that your unconscious mind wants you to learn now, then life would be so much easier. You'll be in the flow state, and you can access the state anytime you want, anytime that you choose. It's also an altered state of narrowing and focused attention. It's an altered state of consciousness. Imagine that person, visualize that person. Now put that image of that person on this canvas, on this wall out here, on this movie screen. You can visualize that, and you can actually shrink them down and put them down. And if that representation you don't like it anymore, you can cut that cord, you can send white light to it and get rid of it. That's a technique. You can use NLP within a technique, but hypnosis is a state that naturally occurs every 20 to 90 minutes in trance or in hypnosis or hypnotized. It's all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Nobody can make you do what you don't want to do. There's no way I could lead you into a trance if you didn't trust me, if I wasn't in rapport with you. There's no way I can say, you guys are getting very sleepy, now give me all your money. Just walk up one by one or all at once and do that. I don't see anybody doing that. Because if it's not in alignment with your true self, your core self, you're just not going to do that. But if I were to say, go ahead and just continue to relax and sit there as you are now perfectly without lifting a finger or without changing anything, maybe noticing how easy it is just to sit here. That's right. And just be yourself and relax. Well, I led you into trance, but nobody objected. Nobody's like, I'm getting up, I don't want to sit here. You know, you can do all these different things, but all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I, as a practitioner, as a hypnotherapist, can only lead you. It's up to you to take it yourself. And most importantly, it's the rapport between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. It's the connection and the conscious awareness of the computer screen and all the files and memories. And it goes even deeper between all the information and the internet, the collective consciousness. So that's essentially what hypnosis is. What it is not, if you follow along or take a look at this, it's not a symptom substitution, which means we're not going to swap out, okay, now I'm not going to smoke, but I'm going to start spitting. Now I'm not going to swear, but I'm going to start yelling. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily work like that. You get to choose, and better yet, your unconscious mind already knows what it wants to put in its place. That's positive. That serves all of you. It's not mind control. Because like I said, if I was going to control your guys' minds, if I were to say, I'm going to put you all in trance, you're going to be relaxed, and I use the analogy of, you know, put all your money in my hand. I could put you in trance up here, and I could light a candle, and I can say, and I can say all these nice things. I can lead you internally, and I'll say, now, in just a moment, not quite yet, you're going to reach over, and you're going to put your hand, a finger, you know, in the flame. One of two things would happen. Either you would know I would never do that for you if you know me or if you are intuitive. You know I would never do that, probably never say that, never lead you there, because I wouldn't cause you any hurt. So either one of the things, you might laugh and like, no, I'm not going to do that, no matter how deep are you in trance. Or if you were out of rapport, you might really come out of trance and just like, no, I don't feel safe, you know. So your unconscious mind's going to always keep you safe. Nobody can control you. They can influence you, like watching TV and commercials. You know, I could sit here and say some company's jingles. I could start it like save big money at, you know, Menards, you know, and I could just say all these different jingles that you've been conditioned time after time. If you hear something time after time, you're going to be able to repeat it. So that's what hypnosis and commercials do. Without review, one of the misconceptions is if I go into trance, I'm going to review information without wanting to. I'm going to spill my guts. I'm going to say, you know, some sort of traumatic thing happened to me and I hate myself or this or that. It's never going to happen like that, because with hypnosis, it actually doesn't matter if you even say it, and sometimes it doesn't matter if you actually know what the problem is. You don't need to know what the problem is in order to let go, or you don't need to know why you have it in order to let go. You can just let it go, which is so brilliant. So your unconscious mind won't give you information consciously out loud to the practitioner or anybody else in the room if it doesn't serve you. So you're in complete and total control when you're in trance. You can hear everything, you can see everything, you're completely in control. Fear of not being dehypnotized. That one and fear of regression. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Office Space. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just really funny. Guy gets, you know, goes to a hypnotherapist. I don't know if it's because of his girlfriend or something like that. He goes into trance. he gets in a state of letting everything go, not caring. It's comedy. Hypnotherapist has a heart attack, dies, and everyone's making a big deal of it. He gets up, he's like, yeah. And this guy's dead on the floor, and he's like, yeah, I feel good. And he goes up and goes to work, doesn't care, and that doesn't happen. Because it naturally occurs every 20 to 90 minutes. Once you're done and you're complete, you're complete. You don't get regressed. Just because you go back to when you were 5 years old doesn't mean you're going to say goo goo gaga, you're not going to talk like a little kid. It doesn't work like that. And then, so fear of regression and I can't be hypnotized. Well, to actually be in the trance, which I'm going to get into now, this is how easy it is. Milton Erickson and a lot of other psychologists found out that there's two different parts of your mind. There's your conscious mind, which is what you're immediately focusing on right now. If I were to pick up this crystal and just draw your attention to this crystal and just look at it right now. Just look at the crystal and maybe it shines as I move it in the light. That's what you're consciously focusing on right now. But what you might not consciously be focusing on is digesting your food, or regulating your temperature, or breathing. How many people are consciously breathing, or have you been breathing this whole time automatically? Your unconscious mind, your automatic nervous system is regulating. The conscious mind, you can only focus on around 7 chunks of information per second. So 7 things per second. That's why phone numbers are usually about 7 digits. The unconscious mind is everything else. All of your memories are here. All of your beliefs. All the information of everything you've ever learned is here. Can you imagine being aware of everything all at once? What would happen if you brought everything on your computer up at once? How can your computer operate? Can you imagine Googling everything at once? It can't work. You can only focus on, you won't be able to function. So that's why there's a conscious mind, which is what you're immediately and presently focusing on, and then an unconscious mind. If you can just share that handout, I'm going to go just over a little bit. This is something you can take home with you, and this is something that's very helpful to understand the difference of the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, especially for those visual learners. The conscious mind is about 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information per second. Phone number, 7 digits, 5 or 9. That's what plus or minus 2 is. Every second, that's about how much chunks of information that you can learn. Whether you chunk or group information as 1 letter, 1 word, 1 sentence, 1 page, it's limited. The unconscious mind is about 12 million bits of information per second. The conscious mind is the logical side. The unconscious mind is the intuitive. The conscious mind asks the questions why. I wonder why that is. But your unconscious mind knows why. So if you look here, this is the thinking conscious mind, the feeling unconscious mind. This is when you're awaking and sleeping, daydreaming. So there's a lot of different things. This is the verbal, this is the nonverbal. There's a lot of different things that you might want to take a look at. That's kind of the difference between the conscious and unconscious mind, and it's a lot easier than you think to access all that information. I'm going to give you this first test, or not even test, I'm going to give you this strategy or path. One of the things that completely changed my life, and this is how I first learned how to access my unconscious mind. Because this is your sympathetic nervous system. This is flight or fight. There's a bee in the room, and if you might be allergic, you're going to freak out and you might hit things and run things over. You're not in a resourceful state. Instead of, if there's a bee in the room and you're allergic, you're like, there's a bee, I'm just going to walk over here. You're in connected. This is the sympathetic nervous system, the flight or fight. The parasympathetic nervous system is the automatic, the relaxation. This is trance. The automatic nervous system, the sympathetic. There's a lot of different ways to get here. If you're focusing on just one thing or if you're focusing on everything, that's the difference. So if you were to look at this highly engineered, advanced drawing that I did. It's just a little dot on a post-it note. And if you were to, for the next minute or so, just laser beam your eyes onto that dot. And let that represent your conscious mind, or what you're consciously focusing on now. Your laser beam, you're focusing on that. Now, to access your unconscious mind, or your parasympathetic nervous system, as you're continuing to look at that blue dot now, go ahead and soften your gaze, or relax the muscles around your eyes. Maybe deepen your breath if you want. And notice in your peripheral awareness the yellow around the blue. And while you're still looking at that dot now, effortlessly and easily, allow your awareness to expand to the white around the yellow, and the white and the yellow at the same time. And go ahead and let your awareness expand as you're looking there now at that blue dot, even wider. So you can see me waving my hands, moving in your peripheral awareness, your panoramic view. You are in the state of trance. There are light trances and there are deep trances. But you are in the state of hypnosis. You are accessing your parasympathetic nervous system. Nobody's controlling you. You have complete control. If anything, you have more control. You have more awareness. You have more focus. In this state that you're in now, peripheral awareness, peripheral parasympathetic nervous system, peripheral vision, it's physically impossible to be in an unresourceful state. It's physically impossible to get angry, sad, hurt, loneliness. I'm not saying you can't feel these things, but they will flow through you. Most people, they get stuck in an emotion and they go to flight or fight. I can't do this. They make statements and then they create new beliefs. I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. Instead of, I wonder how I can do this. I wonder who I could ask. There's a difference between sympathetic nervous system, where you're walking around, you're unaware, hitting things, you can't access your body fully, you can't access your mind, you can't access all your resources. But as soon as you, in a split second, it takes a split second to get in and get out of it, and it takes not that much effort on your part to stay there. And as you're staying there, you have access to all your memories, all the information. This is the main focus of Ericksonian hypnosis, is to develop the rapport between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. So you can Google search within yourself and your higher self all the information that you need. And it's so simple as that. This is what the big fuss and all the hype's about, is I don't want to be hypnotized. Well, how often are you in peripheral awareness? The majority of your life. How often have you driven your car and maybe you drove right past an exit and you're like, oh my God, like, and you snap out of something, right? Well, where were you before you were consciously aware? You were in trance. And that's what's driving the car, is your automatic nervous system. So you don't have to be consciously aware. Are you aware of regulating your heart? Are you aware of your left elbow before I said that? Well, no, of course not. It's not hit, it's not hurt, it's totally fine, so you don't have to worry about it. Your unconscious mind only brings up to you, your conscious awareness, what's immediately important to you. So what we're going to be doing is, let's see how hypnotizable you are. There's a direct relationship Milton Erickson found to the relationship between a person's conscious mind and unconscious mind, and how easily and deeply they can go into trance. So I want to give you two different ways how to go into trance, and let's see what happens. And then if there's somebody, we're going to do a demonstration, if you'd like, and where somebody can come up, where if there's something that you have that you want to get rid of, or something that you have, an emotional state that you want to anchor in. So when this happens, Jeremiah, I want to feel this way. Or when this happens, I don't want to feel this. If you have something like that and you feel called, you can come up here after these two demonstrations, after these two techniques, these two inductions, and we can do a demonstration up here. It doesn't matter to me if you consciously share it or not. All that matters is, do you have something you want more of or something you want to get rid of? It will be impressive both ways. If you come up here and you're like, this is it, I'm going to share with everybody, then after I'll check in with you. Let's say I want to get rid of it, but I don't want to share it with anybody. I'll still check in with you. You don't have to say the words. That's the brilliance of hypnotherapy and hypnosis. All right? So go ahead and just stand up for a second, just because give you a break. And there's three things I want you to consider and want you to know before we do trance. That you are a great hypnotic subject. You are totally and completely resourceful. And you can change easily and timely. So that being said, what I want you to do is, do you guys remember Charlie's Angels? Was it the 70s or 80s. So Charlie's Angels, we make the Charlie's Angels gun, so go ahead and do that right now. Make the little Charlie's Angels gun. And then what I want you to do is you're gonna go ahead and straighten out your arms so they're about eye length. So make these 2 pointer fingers about eye length. And what I want you to do is squeeze your hands just a little bit. So not super tight, not death grip, but just give you a little bit tightness. Now go ahead and move your 2 fingers about 1 inch apart and hold them there. That's right. And I want you to focus not necessarily on your fingers, but the space in between. And I want you to imagine and visualize those 2 fingers are like magnets. That's right, Jeffrey. Very good, Suzanne. And those magnets want to draw together. And I don't know how quickly or how easily that your fingers will slowly begin to come together. Only as quickly as your unconscious mind, that's right, wants you to know that it's there and that it's ready to fully support everything that you do. So once they eventually touch together, you can slowly have your hands, only when your fingers touch together, start to drop all the way down to your thighs, deepening that internal peaceful state of trance by 100 times. And once your hands fall all the way down, that's right, to your thighs, you'll know that your unconscious mind has your full attention and is your servant, ready to give you everything that you deserve in your life now. And you can slowly, when you feel complete, gently open your eyes and come back into the room. Maybe take a deep breath. Very good. Got good and bad news for you all. Good news is you're all hypnotizable. Bad news is there's no bad news. You're all hypnotizable and you do that really well, which means you have a great relationship with your unconscious mind, and it can only deepen and it can only get better. There's a direct relationship between how intelligent a person is and how deep and how quickly they can go into trance as well. So the second one is, what I want you to do is, I want you to visualize that you're going to be like the Statue of Liberty. So everyone kind of knows the Statue of Liberty. There's a torch and then there's the book, right? So what I want you to do is place your left hand out in front of you, maybe about shoulder width apart, and just imagine you're holding that book, a very, very heavy book. Maybe it's an encyclopedia. I don't know if you guys, younger people, know what that is, but before Google and things, we had to look through books and read things. And instead of getting it read to me, I just get things read to me. It's like, Google, what does this mean? And then it talks to me. But back then there was heavy books, and then if you can imagine like a torch, the Liberty torch, to light the way. So with your right hand, you can hold that torch. And go ahead now and just feel what that feels like, that torch. And as that torch, with your arm just straight out in front of you, as it starts to burn brighter, to become even more liberty and show the way, it can slowly or quickly start to raise. And over here, you can feel that book maybe getting another few pounds added to it. And if you imagine what that would feel like once that book starts to get heavier, I don't know about you, but I would slowly bring it in towards my body. And as this torch gets lighter, like there's helium balloons tied around it, that's right, it can slowly start to raise. Only as quickly as you would like. Very good. And notice what happens as your hands start to separate, how easy it is to become aware of that internal peace that your unconscious mind is leading. And as you breathe even deeper and your hands separate a little bit wider, your right hand can go all the way up And your left hand can go all the way down, creating distance and space. And no matter how much separation has occurred now, or a little bit later, your unconscious mind is smiling inside. So when you're ready, you can relax both arms and come back out. Very good. Some people had a little bit more distance and a little bit less distance. Just so you all know, if I was to stage hypnosis, the people that were the most easily suggestible or hypnotizable, that's who we would bring up on stage. People that didn't move as much, you can watch it on YouTube, you can sit down, you come up on stage, So there's a calibration test. But nobody can make you do anything or control you to do anything. So go ahead and have a seat. Thank you guys very much. Is there somebody who would like to have, because when I pick a demonstration subject, I pick somebody who, I always give them a little bit extra. When I do coaching, when I do therapeutic coaching, and when I do one-on-one consulting, I always do my best. I always give all of my resources to a person. So for the demonstration purposes, if somebody wants to come up here that has something that they either want to get rid of, or they want to anchor a state, a positive resource state, or maybe they have a negative anchor that they want, or less than positive anchor that they want to get rid of. Is there anybody that has something that your unconscious mind is telling you, pick me right now, that you can come up, and whether you communicate it consciously or you keep it to yourself? Perfect. So why don't you, everyone come up and give Josh a hand. You're coming up. Have a seat, my friend. I'll get you really comfortable. I'm going to move this back here. Okay. So thank you for volunteering, being the brave volunteer to go first. So basically, this is what's going to happen. It's really simple. I like to be really overt and tell you everything in your unconscious mind so that the conscious mind knows, okay, so there's going to be no surprises. So what I'm going to do is, there's a script here that I have that is proven to really bring a person deep within themselves into that central core place, like that deep space within, you know what I mean? Very good. Where all possibility and anything can be released and anything can be given, all of your resources are. So that's what we're going to do. And is there anything that you want more of or less of? Because I'm going to do my best to make sure you have that state.
Less negative self-speak, kind of like what you were saying before.
Perfect. So internally negative self-speak. Is there times, Josh, that happens, like more of? Is there something that triggers it, or is it just kind of like ongoing? Is there anything that triggers it? Is it associated to anything, or is it just there?
It's kind of just there.
Perfect. So what do you want instead of that? Let's say that's completely removed. Let's say for some reason I'm some sort of magical hypnotic wizard. I can pluck it, throw it out, you can never do it again. What is going to be in its place that will positively serve you?
More like positive kind of confidence towards things and whatnot, I guess. I don't know, like just the reverse of that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're getting rid of debt and giving you wealth. You know what I mean? This is kind of taken away from life experiences, quality of life, and want to give something that's going to enhance it 5 times.
Totally.
Perfect. Good. Excellent. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be reading this and gently guiding you deep within. And whether you want to keep your eyes open or start to gently close them, you might become aware and start to realize that the people in the audience might go into trance as well. We'll just see if that happens. So any questions before you're ready? All right. So we're going to go inside and we're going to get rid of that negative self-talk. And in its place, your unconscious mind, because it's not me saying this, your unconscious mind came up with it. It knows already what it wants, does it not? And it knows how to do that, does it not? And it's been waiting some time. I wonder how long it's been since it first told you to do this and make this change now. How long do you feel like it's been?
A long time, like
perfect.
Since being young.
Perfect. Good, good. Because today's a very special day for you then, very important. So is there anything in the foreseeable future or present that your unconscious mind needs to clear or get rid of in order to fully accept this positive thing? Or is it just know what to do when it needs to do it?
I think, I'm not sure.
Perfect. Very good. I think you're good to go. All right. So to prepare you, I want to just share this a little bit with you, that Milton Erickson, out of Ericksonian and Hypnosis, he's worked with approximately 30,000 patients. And he found that he observed that all good hypnotic subjects sit with their feet flat on the floor or on the chair, and with their palms or their hands gently resting ever so slightly on their thighs. Very good. And I'm going to ask you some things, but you don't necessarily have to verbalize them out loud. You can just consider, I want you to consider what I'm saying, all right? So have you ever been in trance before or right now?
Not sure.
Do you expect that you'll experience going into a trance state now as basically similar to or different from the state you were just before you fell asleep last night? Very good. And would you like to find a spot somewhere down there where you can look at comfortably? And as you continue to look out there or inside now, look at that spot for a while. Do your eyelids want to blink? And will those eyelids begin to blink together or separately? Slowly. That's right. Or quickly. Very good. And will they close all at once or flutter all by themselves? That's right. And will those eyes close more and more as you become more and more comfortable sitting there now? That's right. And can those eyes now remain closed as your comfort deepens, like when you go to sleep? Can that comfort spreading all throughout your entire body, completely filling up and surrounding every cell with golden light, healing energy? And can that comfort, that light, continue more and more so that you rather not even try to open your eyes? Or would you rather try and find out that you cannot? That's right. And how soon will you forget about them altogether because your conscious mind wants to dream? Can you feel comfortable resting? Your hands gently on your thighs. That's right. Without letting them touch each other. And can those hands, Josh, rest ever so slightly and lightly so that your fingertips just barely touch your thighs? It's almost as if there was a balloon or a bunch of balloons that were helium that were tied to your wrists. That's right. And as those hands rest ever so lightly, easily by themselves, as the rest of your body relaxes more and more. And as that continues, does one hand or the other, or maybe even both, want to continue to lift off your thighs even more. I wonder which one wants to go first. Very good. That's right. Go ahead and give your unconscious mind permission to fall deeper the higher your hand goes now. Higher it goes, the deeper you go into trance, letting it stop whenever it wants to stop. That's right. Very good. You can slowly have that rubbery feeling, that hand stopping right there, going all the way up into your arm. Very good. And as that hand stays up, or possibly even reaching higher bit by bit, that's right, all by itself, does the other hand want to catch up and join it? Or will it just stay relaxed on your lap now? That's right. And does that hand continue lifting with these slight jerky movements? Or does the lifting get smoother and smoother as the hand continues upward? Very good. Towards your face. Does it move more quickly or slowly as it approaches your face with deepening comfort? Does it need to pause a bit before it finally touches your face? So you'll know that you are going into a trance. That's right. And it won't touch until your unconscious mind is really ready to let you go deep, will it? And will your body automatically take a deep breath when that hand moves all the way towards your face? Or as you relax and experience yourself going deeper? That's right. And will you even bother to notice the deep, comfortable feeling when the hand slowly returns to your lap all by itself? And will your unconscious mind be in a dream by the time that hand comes to rest? Go ahead and let your unconscious mind now completely release and let go of any negative, unwanted self-talk, and swap it out and integrate it for uplifting, positive, resourceful, confident, connected self-talk about yourself and your self-image now. And go ahead and let your unconscious mind signal with a finger on your left hand when that transformation is completed. Only doing this as quickly as your unconscious mind would like, of course. Taking all the time you need. When you're ready, very good. And go ahead and ask your unconscious mind, has everything that's been negative self-talk been cleared now? good. Go ahead and let your unconscious mind accept this new way of being, thinking, and talking about yourself and others so that it fully supports your being in your divine. And I wonder, what will be the most effective means of making the change that you want to make now? That's right. Will your unconscious mind find times in the past when you experienced the very feelings and skills necessary to make this change? Or will your unconscious mind create a totally new response? Very good. Taking pieces of behaviors, feelings, things you said positively, things you've seen positively. That's right. Let it happen. Let it bubble up. And let that positive emotions come out. Things you've heard and things you've done positively, and combine them in a new and comforting ways. That's right. Let it happen. And how quickly will your unconscious mind find the solution that is in the highest interest of your total personality? Very good. Very quick. You're very quick. Will you do it now? In trance? Later on? In a daydream? Or in your night dreams? And do it completely outside of your awareness. And how will you notice how much you've changed? I wonder. Will you notice it soon or gradually? Over a period of time, so that you forget what you wanted to change and just enjoy the simple comforts positively, that's right, of living each day trusting your unconscious mind. And how easily will you begin to rouse up only as quickly as your unconscious mind makes all the necessary adjustments. Not to complete the change now, but to simply increase your comfort so that you can open your eyes, awake, refreshed, and alert whenever you feel complete, and come back out into the room and join us. How are you feeling?
That was crazy, the feeling that washed over me.
Would you like to care to share? Describe the experience?
I don't know, like, I never really, I always thought, like, hypnosis was supposed to be like what you see on TV, the whole duck and, chicken monkey thing. But it was like, this feeling that, like, I felt it completely different inside, and it was like, just, it was almost kind of weird, and sometimes I would, like, step out of it and then go back to it, and, like it was
to test it.
Yeah. And then it was almost like as soon as I get, like, kind of snap out of it, it's like, okay, go back.
Just be.
It's just this kind of, like, inner warp. Yeah. It's cool.
So are you glad you came up here?
Totally.
So let me just test it, just to see if it really works. So Josh, if you can think about a time, sometime out in the future, that you're going to be in a similar situation that you would have responded the old way in the past. How do you feel like or how do you know you'd be responding differently now?
I, like, seriously, definitely feel like way more, like, just my outlook right now is more positive, and I feel like, I really do feel totally, like, just washed of it. Not even thinking, even, like, now when I try to think into it, it's
It's hard to even access those old thoughts.
As there's no, like, that pathway just feels different. I don't know, just thinking. I don't know.
So in the future, you're going to respond different. You're going to be more positive. You're just going to feel good. This warm feelings are just going to wash over you.
Yeah.
And how do you know that's true?
Because I've already felt it now.
And why is that important to you?
Because that's what I've been wanting for so long, you know, and I feel like that's going to allow me to just go forth better. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, congratulations. Everyone give him a round of applause. Thank you for volunteering. I'll give you one of these. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy. So, how exciting was that to watch?
That was like totally legit too. It's just, yeah. It's crazy.
It's not, yeah, it's not a trick, it's not a technique, it's a state.
Yeah.
Your face is just glowing and beaming happiness. And enjoy it, like don't hold back, just let it keep going, because it's...
It's still even feel like it's like this residual, like, yeah, it's cool.
I'm glad you came.
Yeah, me too.
Did anybody else have an experience of what Josh was up here and doing it? Did anyone else have any internal shifts or any internal things happen?
I'm feeling a little bit. I think if I would have been up there, it would have been different, but I was definitely like in and out of it.
What were you feeling? You said you were feeling a little bit?
Almost like the meditative feelings I get sometimes, like just that feeling of warmth coming over, just like you said.
Meditative and warm, very beautiful. Nice, nice. How about for you? Yeah.
I felt like it just went into out of my head and more into my heart.
Yes, out of your head and into your heart. Perfect. Yep. That's what I always try to share with people, that healing is the team sport. And it's best when it's with more people, because just by, thank you Josh for coming in and being so brave, being the unconscious leader is what we call you, and sharing this, because a lot of times in hypnosis and NLP, that somebody that comes forth is the unconscious leader. It's usually everybody has something to work on as well, and that person, by going through the technique or going through the trance, lets go and everybody else kind of follows. So it's very kind of neat to see this every time. And for me, it never gets old. I'm completely passionate. I want to be able to share it with as many people, to really share with as many people as I can that suffering is optional. Like, suffering on the planet is optional. And I've yet to been proved wrong. I have no longer have any suffering, and each day I'm helping more and more people, and we're going to be certifying people to be able to do this in the future, and it's just unbelievable. So I'm wondering if there's any questions, or what kind of questions that you guys might have from anything you've seen tonight. Unless you're completely and totally connected right now, which is totally likely, and there's no questions or uncertainty inside of you. Very good. We'll enjoy that, because it's really great. So let's just, to close this seminar, I want to just kind of talk about the whole thing. I want to basically summarize it, that hypnosis is a state of consciousness. It's not a technique. And anybody can access that. We're in trance 2/3 of their life. I've been in trance this whole time. And I went really deep into trance when Josh was up here. And I went really deep into trance at certain times when I led you in, because the practitioner, the hypnotherapist, needs to go into trance to lead somebody in. So it's not like I got this magic thing and I'm going to hypnotize you and you're going to act like a flower and you're going to dance like a monkey and things like that. That's stage hypnosis, fun to watch. But I have to go into trance myself in order to bring you, I lead you into trance. And the better relationship I have as a practitioner with my unconscious mind, it allows you safe passage to go deep within yourself, especially in a room with different people, to go deep, and everybody does it. Everybody was in rapport. Everybody was deep in trance. Everyone feels better, feels more connected, and it's going to be amazing how long this is going to last for you. I don't know how long this is going to last, but it is going to last for a while. So hypnosis can be used at any time. And if you guys remembered that when I had that ball, there was that one day I told you, like a ball just like this. And it was magic, and there was cement that I was gonna do, I was gonna figure out, and I'm just like, oh my God. I went up to that ball, I was gonna jump, and I was like, it scared me. I hit a wall of fear. And what I found out was, I found my strategy, and I needed to break through it. So my peripheral awareness, what I did was, I stayed in peripheral awareness, and I found out that failure was impossible. It was impossible to fall as long as I stayed in peripheral awareness. And I trust my unconscious mind with my life. I use hypnosis to do things like this. It's physically impossible to fall. Whether you're doing something like this, you're on a tightrope, it's physically impossible for a human being to fall. I can go around in all circles, I can do karate crazy ninja tricks. I'm never out of trance. I control when I come off. So that completely changed my life. When I learned how to do it on cement, I now have the ability to access that unconscious mind, to go into peripheral awareness, to break through every wall there is to break, to stay resourceful and connected. This transformed my life, not only for me, for my clients. And learning from Paul Chek and from that video and his whole system, I now kind of took on an identity, if you will, of a corrective exercise core specialist, meaning anybody can come to me physically, and I will guarantee get to the root cause. I will find out exactly what's going on with them, what exactly caused it, what they need to do about it, and give them a plan for that. I also do that psychologically. I also do that in hypnosis. So I'm really grateful that I broke through that ball and that trick. I broke through that wall. Now there's no wall in my life that I can't break through, and the same is true for you. And I have that corrective exercise MacGyver mentality that I'm going to be so resourceful and I'm going to find a way. And when I was at the Cheesecake Factory and I got to that POS station, I was like, oh crap, what if I forget? Within milliseconds, my unconscious mind is like, boom, 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 boom. All the people in all the order. This person did a salad, they didn't want bacon, they wanted blue cheese. I can probably still remember it right now with all the modifications and all the drinks. Your unconscious mind can give you direct access, just like that. And all you need to do is use it. The more you use it, the deeper you go, the better your connection is, the more you can access. You can infinitely do this for the rest of your life. So my encouragement was to go out there and learn hypnosis, find a hypnosis practitioner, or learn it yourself, have more practice, because you can and you do have all the resources you have inside. Thank you very much. Cool. Good job, yeah. Wow, wasn't that loads of fun? Now, first things first, please do not try to jump on an exercise ball at home. I am a trained professional and I do make it look easy. If this is something that you are truly interested in, then I will be making a video in the future showing all the many progressions that I successfully followed to get to this point. So again, please do not try this at home. By watching these videos, I've hoped you received a different point of view about the many possibilities and directions your life can go, exactly in the direction you choose. In order to get to where you want to go now, it would be extremely intelligent for you to get yourself a coach. Someone who knows what they are doing and who has already achieved great success in the area that you want to grow in. Do some research. Find someone you feel comfortable with and who you can trust. We offer in-person and online coaching that is guaranteed to help you get to where you want to be, and most importantly, where you need to be. My name is Jeremiah Rangel from introawareness.com. Thank you very much for watching, and keep on growing.